Right now I have a slab in my hands that's been very well wrapped in plastic. If your slab has not been wrapped in plastic, it's not going to work. Okay, so keep that in mind. Keeping this pretty flat and not rolling it too much or moving it too much, unwrap it as carefully as you can. So what I like to do is I like to lay it down flat for a minute. And what I'm going to do here is get my red rubber rib and smooth out my textures that I like. Okay. And this is important to make sure that your surface of your clay is nice and buttery. Now we have these mug patterns, okay? These mug patterns are fantastic for cutting things out. You should also have a mug pattern paper that you are drawing on and designing. So it should be a repetitious pattern, not even a pattern, just a repetitious design. So let's say that you want to do bubbles, but they look really random. As long as you're repeating those bubbles in a consistent way, that's a repetitious design. Moving on though, this is a repetitious design that my daughter Harper did the other day while she was here. I'm just going to show you the flip side of this. So she did a lot of texture work, and I kind of think it looks cool. It reminds me of hills. So we're going to make a mug out of this. So I'm going to lay it down and move some things out of the way. And just take my pattern and lay it on top. Cut it out with a fettling knife. So here's a fettling knife right here. You can find these in the back room, okay, where all of the other tools are. So I'm going to actually try to keep a little bit of my slab so that I can have it for a bottom. So I'm kind of trying to make sure that I get this mug moved to one of the edges as opposed to right away into the center of the slab, so I don't have that. So you can see I have like a large amount of scrap slab that I can use for the bottom, so I'm going to set that to the side. Now I have a slab right here that is kind of like this killer awesome texture. It's really wild, really funky, but if you take notice, this is a really chunky lip, and I'm gonna clean this up a little bit. So I like doing this when it's flat because it's just quicker and easier. I have water here, circle sponge, these are at the sink. Put them back, rinse out your sponge, and put them back where you found them. This should be 93% of the way dry. Look, I'm squeezing hard and nothing's coming out. Oh, one drop came out. So I'm going to take this and run it along my edge. I'm going to bend this real quick so that you can see. Okay, so if I do that really gently on both sides, I'm going to end up with a top lip that's really nice and smooth, and it's not going to be awkward whenever you go to drink out of it. You know what I mean? So that's kind of nice. Last video for you. Now you're ready to take this. We've cut it out. If you notice, I'm not really bending it too much. I'm still trying to be pretty tender with it. So what I'm going to do is very carefully, I'm going to take it, and I have kind of my broad support on the back side. All at once, I'm going to U it. Okay? Stand it up. Now, solemnly swear that once you have this vertical, you will never, ever, ever put it on its side. If you put it on its side, then you're going to stress the clay out because it's remembering that it's laying vertical. It does not want to move once it's been moved to its spot. So what we're going to do here, we have this U. We're going to take these two ends and we're just going to meet them. But what you're going to notice is toward the bottom edge, that's kind of flat. doesn't look very good. So we're gonna make that more evenly curved by taking a rolling pin. Again, these rolling pins are going to be over in that back room there. We're gonna take a rolling pin, just simply press wherever it's a little bit flat, you're gonna press so that it's gently moved into a curve. It's really even this way. It looks good. Now this is a gigantic mug, and things shrink whenever you fire them. So keep that in mind. But if you do want to make it a little bit tinier, you can actually do an overlap here, okay? If you do an overlap, then you can cut through both of your layers and attach it that way. You can also, if you want to, if you like the look of having an overlap, you'll get that outside edge, and that's kind of a nice thing. It's an artistic decision that you can make. I'm just going to show you how to make a nice flush seam so that it's hidden. You know about angles, so instead of cutting directly down, we're going to take our knife and cut on an angle like this. So I'm going to just cut that down. You're going to have some extra clay then. You don't need these two pieces. Those extra bits are just like done. Now, if you see here, you have a seam that is really, really easily hidden. Okay, check that puppy out. It's a really great trick, right? I'm opening this up and I'm going to go through my attachment procedures just like always. So I'm going to score, slip, squish, sew, smooth. For this, I'm not really sewing, I'm just smoothing more than sewing, but the pressure is important. That squish is really key. So let's get going. Scoring. Now I'm scoring with the needle tool. You can use a regular score, it's totally fine. So I'm scoring the outside of this, but also I'll have to score the other side of that. It's the point of contact. So we're gonna keep going. I don't have any like winning background music. Maybe some other day you guys can show me on iMovie or something like that how to do something to give my videos a little pep and zest. But yeah, I don't have that right now. All right, so just bear with me. I'm gonna take my finger because my paintbrush is a little too wussy, and I'm just going to slip that up. So getting that nice and wet on that side and wetting this down on this side. Now that I'm ready, I can take it, matching my top edge. That's very important because then you don't have to really worry. We'll figure out the bottom the next time you come in. Okay, so if you take a look, what I'm doing is pressing the whole way throughout my seam. So I'm pressing along the bottom, I'm pressing into the middle. Very delicate fingertips, just like when you're pinching. And then you'll be ready for the next step. So you'll have a seam that looks pretty hidden, and it's kind of nice. I like it. All right. Hey, I'll see you soon. Bye.